As a kid, I could confidently tell you that growing up in the house I was born into was truly a humbling experience. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful that I was able to be born and raised a certain way my parents knew would be what's best for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be the dope-ass guy I am today. It all comes full circle. Instead of that, I couldn't imagine where I'd be. I'd probably be some low-life scumbag, slinging sugar on the streets like my name is Deshane and Sully from Top Boy. Long story short, these bums died. The end of Top Boy was garbage, man. But I'm just saying that it all connects symbiotically. Everybody gotta have some sort of hardship or barrier in their backstory to make anything they do in the future have some weight to it. It's what personally adds onto their own development and makes their story even more aspirational to hear. And with me, being raised in an African household by two foreign parents, sophisticated in their own cultures, intelligent enough to adapt to a whole new country and persevere, working twice as hard to even have something here, I'ma just tell you right now, this shit was hard to grow up with, man. And that's not me trying to make a dig at my parents or anything. I love you, mammy. But compared to what was normal for them and seeing what was seen as normal in the UK and the area I grew up in was what made my upbringing as a kid kind of shaky. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to go over some hopefully relatable experiences most of us had growing up with foreign houses and with foreign parents. Because let's be real here, some of it was low-key horrifying, man. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into it, man. Beginning with the most common shit we all went through, which is changing your appearance. And what I mean by changing your appearance is simply just getting bad haircuts. Because I swear down, they were all terrible, man. I used to get garbage trims growing up. And it was low-key humiliating, man. Before the era of dreadheads, taper fades, or any nice trims the man them get now, I swear down 10 years ago, we were in the trenches, man. It was hard out here. Believe me, it was not easy. Universally speaking, there was only one type of haircut I know for a fact every boy has gotten once in their life, between the ages of 5 until they were about 11 or 12. A haircut that truly changes the perspective of a man forever. Something so humbling that you'll forever appreciate growing your hair out for the rest of your life. And yes, my fellow gentlemen, I know you know what the hell I'm talking about, man. Damn, I messed up. We gotta go bald. Every guy I know went through this phase, man, I swear to God. And if you surprisingly didn't, you lucky ass bitch. Going bald as a kid is crazy work, I have to admit. I swear to God, that might as well be labeled as abuse. Because the amount of clowning other kids would do to me when they would see my bald head pulsing, it makes me wonder, how was this even allowed? It's criminal, man. I remember every time me and my dad would go over to my usual barbers and I'll be telling him every other day I wanted to get a different type of haircut. Even pointed to one of these so I could show him that I wanted to get that specific type of trim. Then almost every single time, he'll be smiling at me nicely, just saying, yeah, you can get that. Which made me very happy at the time because I thought I was finna stun out in primary school. I thought I was gonna get right with this trim, man. But it turns out I was wrong. I was deeply wrong. As soon as it was my turn to hit the chair, sit down and get the whole robe and tissue put on me by the barber, he would then ask me what type of haircut do I want. And just before I would answer him and was about to mention that sweet fade I wanted, my father would just creep behind the barber like he's a shadow, grab his shoulder and just be like, big man, cut off all his hair. Take all of it off. I want him to have nothing but a 0.5 all across his head. Remove everything. I want his head shiny, looking like Poseidon from the SpongeBob movie. As bold as Walter White in Breaking Bad. His head needs to be so bright after this, it sends a beacon in the sky. And by the end of this, I want my son looking like Little Bill. And I did look like Little Bill. I just remember those times as a kid, I'll be crying in the seat, sending a single tear down my face, knowing damn well I'm finna get mocked in school the next day for looking like this. Why would you do this to me? It was even so bad. Sometimes my dad would cut my hair off personally. And when this man did it, it was infinitely worse than the barbers. It would leave my head pulsing like an angry vein. Shit wasn't easy back then. I could even tell the barber felt bad for me at the time, because he would look at me as if he didn't want to do this to me. It looked like it hurt him cutting my hair more than it hurt me getting the cut. But at the time, my father didn't do this because he wanted to make fun of me or just completely made me look stupid in front of my peers, even though at the time I thought that was exactly what it was. He had what I thought at the time was a legit reason back then, which was telling me that getting a fade or a high top or anything else that I wanted that wasn't the same level across your head was because it was haram. Which is the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever heard in my life. It was a lie. My parents would straight up lie to my face, bro. And most of the time, it may have came from a good place, but really and truly, some of it was just some bullshit, including making my head look like a dried raisin. It was for nothing, because that justification about calling getting a fade haram wasn't even the slightest bit true. They just said it so I wouldn't question them anymore, making me look like Cortez from Wild 'N Out. They wanted me to look chalk. I was healed when I found out the truth about fades not being haram. It had me circling around the whole mindset of, so this whole time, They lied to me about getting a buzz cut across my whole head for years. They've made me suffer at the hands of people ridiculing me, people grabbing my head and smacking the back of it, girls having no interest and not even taking a second look at me because I look like the black version of Caillou, and all of that suffering was for nothing. The deception, the betrayal. Why? There's no reason for me to go on. What am I fighting for? Why even lie at that point? You could have just told me that you were gonna shave my head bald before we went into the barbers, and I still would have gone through with it anyway. I sleep in your house, you think I'm gonna say no? And it wasn't even just my parents who had that reinforced mindset. Arabic school teachers didn't help either. When I was younger, I used to go to an Arabic school to study the Quran and learn a lot more about my religion. And with me attending Quran school often, they used to have a dress code before going in there, which was long gowns for both men and women, with women covering their head with hijabs and guys having their hair cut a certain way just because. And every single time I would go, one teacher out of the 5 we had would single me out for some reason and call my mom every single time she would come to pick me and my siblings up just to violate me and hate on my trip. Why are you coming at me for? You know it ain't true. He was probably mad because he was bald. That's why he was trying to come at me for. And with all due respect, it wasn't fair the fact that my hair was the single point he always wanted to make at me, knowing in Arabic school, I was a 6 student, fam. I had an S tier in recitations and learning my Arabic. So you couldn't say I wasn't locked in. But apparently the hair is where you draw the line. Not only that, but that teacher was the only one to come at me. The rest of them didn't care. He wanted beef with me. And what did he gain? Nothing. Because he was a hater. He was pressed because his head looked like Vin Diesel's. Why are you coming at me for? But hair is just one part of the equation when it comes to making any change about your appearance around foreign parents. Another one being getting other things done, like getting tattoos or getting your ears pierced. Now me personally, I think tats are fire, but they're not me, you know. I don't think I'll ever get them. But I have thought about getting both my ears pierced once, because even though some niggas say that shit is only for women, stop lying to yourself. This shit go hard, man. Piercings can make you look sick, fam. And it crossed my mind because when I was in secondary, a lot of people my age would have their ears pierced. So I remember building up the courage one day to ask both my parents if I could get my ears pierced. And I kid you not, they looked at me like the statue from Solo Leveling, as if they wanted to kill me or saying that shit. I'm not even lying when I say they start to have an eerie aura about them, like Dio in part 3 of JoJo. They start looking like menaces, as if I asked them some stupid ass question. Which it was to them apparently, because they looked at me as if I was an idiot. But this isn't even the worst of it. Something else foreign parents would hold a lot of weight to specifically was academics. Because to most of them, if your grades weren't the highest they could be, nothing else mattered to them, I swear. The academic pressure my family would damn near put on me and my siblings was diabolical. Even though it genuinely came from a good place and wanting us to do the best and have the best opportunities, it still didn't help with how much of a pedestal my parents would hold it on. Like in school, I was basically an average ass student. I wasn't some high performer, getting full on A's and 9s in class, busting my ass when it came to assignments and homework, and I wasn't the opposite either, like someone who still doesn't understand how to open these algebraic brackets in maths. And this shit never matters in real life, by the way. It's useless. But the point is that I was the average performer in tests. I did my schoolwork, never my homework because it's a giant scam, passed my GCSEs with a bunch of 5s and 6s, and pretty much never looked back because grades don't matter. And it's not fair to base someone's entire work ethic solely on how high they achieve in a test. It doesn't mean anything. But to African parents, it's all they literally cared about when it came to school. I remember some days I would finish early on a Tuesday, take the bus home, and the second I stepped foot in my house, my parents are rushing to the door and telling me to read my books and do my homework. Mom! Did I not just come home? Can I chill first? I just did a whole 7-hour shift at school with no pay. Why are you getting on to me talking about homework? I suffered enough, haven't I? I'm tired. And this may just be a strict parent thing instead of a foreign parent thing, but I'm gonna take the gamble and say most foreign parents are strict by default. But just often, before the age of 14, I couldn't catch a break when it came to schoolwork, I'm telling you. Especially when it came to certain big events there, like parents' evening, and where my dad would go out of his way to come to the school, speak to my teachers, and just get an all-round feel of what I was like at school. And every time this used to come up, I used to shit myself, man. I never went with my dad to any parents' evenings held at school, and I definitely know what you're thinking just off hearing that. Oh my god, you were so lucky, man. You didn't see your dad get pissed off right in front of you. You had it easy. You were at home chilling or something. Let me put you in a hypothetical real quick. Wouldn't you feel more afraid of something if you weren't there at the moment of it happening, but you knew it was eventually gonna happen, but you didn't know when to expect it? Okay, that sounded way too complicated, even for me, so let me just explain it to you guys. As I've previously mentioned before, I was something of a class clown back in school. I wouldn't say I would disturb the entire class every time, but I did used to piss off teachers. And specifically out of them, it would be my maths, science, and history teachers. Now, do I think it was really immature of me to have this type of behavior back then? Yes. But do I regret any of it, even though those same teachers would blame me for stuff that didn't have anything to do with me? Hell no. And if I ever told my dad about that, he would never believe me. So when he would go speak to these specific teachers and hear any sort of bad news about my behavior, I swear to God, I'm not even joking here. It was game over for me, man. All my lives were deleted. As soon as he left, he would call me, and this would be something out of a horror movie, man. I felt like I was in Saw here. And let me set the scene for you guys so you understand how scary this really was back then. It's a cold and rainy day like any other day in England. Thunder is striking, lightning bolts are happening somewhere in the distance. It's a dark day like any other. On this type of occasion, I would be mindlessly doing something. Maybe I'm playing Fortnite or watching Netflix, I don't know. I'd be in some sort of random activity at the time. Then boom! My father would call me. I pick up the phone, thinking it's like any other day. You know, I greet him, I say, hello dad, how are you? He replies with, I'm fine. And it all just seems like a normal father-son conversation. Until my dad drops the line I didn't want to hear. So I just finished your parents' evening today. Oh yeah, and how was it? I know I was a good student, right? My grades good? Yes, so grades are fine, but I also wanted to call you because of your behavior waves. My behavior? I mean, most of my teachers like me. You spoke to Miss Carrington, right? She loves me in English, man. Yes, Miss Carrington likes you. Everyone else likes you, but no. See, Mr. Berkeley, your math teacher, he says you mess around a lot in class. You jump across table to table, you disrespect him, and on top of that, you don't even do your homework. How do you not do your homework, huh? But I'm saying, like, look at the rest of my teachers, though. Like, how can you not see past that? Waves. You think I'm a fool? You think my mind is fragile and I can't see past your foolishness? You think I'm dumb? No, Dad, I'm just saying, like, look at the track record, it's calm. Okay. So you want to mess around in mathematics, Make a fool of me and your mom, It's okay. I will see you at home. No, Dad, please. I will see you at home. No, what do you mean? I'm saying I will see you at home. But Mr. Buddy just don't like me. I'm telling you, I will see you at home. I will see you there and you will wait for me there. You understand, boy? He would then abruptly end the phone call, signaling his fury. And then what I would be doing at this time is just sitting there, deep in my life like a schmuck, about to embrace my impending doom as if it was my destiny to get my ass whooped. And let this be a lesson to those of you who mess around in class, whether you're in secondary school, middle school, high school, whatever school, I don't care. Learn to behave, man. Even though it may be tempted to tell a joke here and there, even though you might just be trying to have fun with your friends, even though you may want to impress the fine shit, it doesn't matter because your education is more important than all of that. Except if your teacher starts with you and keeps going, by all means, go to war with them and fight! And finally, this brings me to the last point about foreign parents that I wanted to speak about today. But before we get into that, I want to speed through some honorable mentions because I know for a fact most of us can definitely relate to some of these. We have when your parents will shout you, asking you to get the remote for them, even though it was always right in front of them. We have the infamous phrase, we have McDonald's at home. We have when they would be on the phone with people and instead of just saying the words they mean, they would spell the whole thing out and start speaking in Morse code. And I ain't gonna lie to you, this shit was always hilarious back in the day, man. Like, I couldn't tell you how many times my pops would be on the phone and just be like, okay, so it's B for battle axe, S for subway, Z for zebra, P for Pythagoras theorem, N for Nvidia, B for Bermuda Triangle. You get the point. It was funny, but also unnecessary at the same time. But I loved it, man. And now, with all of these things out the way, this brings me to my final point that I wanted to bring up about growing up with foreign parents. And that is language barriers. So with my parents being from a whole different country, as much as English was my first language, they would never speak that shit at home. Instead, at the yard, they would always be speaking Somali. And instead of me and my siblings speaking the language as well, since we didn't have a huge grip on it at the time, we would understand it, but reply in English, which is normal for most immigrant households and usually works perfectly. But where it goes completely wrong is when you're speaking to your relatives. Because now, the barrier is fully placed down your cook. Shit gets techie here. Every time my cousin, aunties and uncles or grandparents will be on the phone, there is no replying in English for them because they don't understand English. So I would be there on the phone with them as a kid, and every time a relative of mine would ask me a question or start speaking to me in Somali, it would just leave me there standing like one egg because I didn't understand shit. I didn't get nothing. These times I was like 9 or 10 years old. So how do you expect me to have a full-on conversation in Somali? When I live here, man, people out here are fine dining on food like bangs and mash, and you expect me to know the lyrics to "And I love you more than my life." What do you want from me, man? How these phone calls always used to go would just be me bopping my head acting as if they could see me and me chiming in every now and then with a simple so they would know I'm engaged in the conversation. But every conversation I would have, I wasn't understanding what the hell they were even talking about. I was lost here. Also, a quick side note, I just wanted to add this in real quick. Somali accents are hilarious. Like, we don't have whole heavy tone accents or some strong bass in what we say, but some words just come off hella funny, man. For example, we put a lot of emphasis behind certain words we say. Like the number 6 isn't pronounced like 6. Instead, it said like, Sigus. Look how much weight there is to that. You could shout it off a waterfall and it would echo on some Sigus. Amazing stuff, man. Eventually, though, I would get better at speaking my foreign language to the point where now I can hold a conversation with other Somali people and even end them perfectly. But back then, it was a struggle, man. Especially when it came to visiting there. I was an outcast compared to everyone else. But as much as the language barrier was my own issue, somehow, some way, my parents would catch heat for it. That's how strict people are about knowing your own language. If you don't, they act as if you're some outsider or something that don't belong. What are you talking about? Why are you hating? And learning a whole new language is crazy. You need to learn a whole new alphabet, syllables, phrases, masculine and feminine nouns. It's a bunch of long shit, man. I'm a human. And to come at me or my parents because they ain't know how to parlay and teach me Somali, knowing I was born in the Great Britain, is preposterous. Because even at the time, I was basically juggling 2 different languages because of Arabic school, teaching me Arabic. How you expect me to learn all of that? I was 9. I was a kid, man. What you want from me? But all in all, though, I will admit that it's a giant flex to be able to speak your own language, bro. Best believe I used to stun on people when it came to that. It made me feel like I was floating for real. It's crazy. And that's pretty much all I wanted to speak about today. Being fortunate enough to have foreign parents is truly an experience. But in a good way, you know? If you, man, got any more personal stories about your parents in your life, comment down below, man. I'd love to hear some more. I love you, man. I appreciate all of you so much. And in conclusion...
Is Gideon home?
Gideon is over there.
What up?
Shut up!